Hello to everybody. This video I'm going to talk about the writing style of the research report. First of all, we should understand something about the research. So research is an investigations and examinations of something. If there is a standard of writing, there is a chance of tracing out the errors and mistakes so that it will be strengthen our report. There are various formats are there which are all framed and followed by the different authors and the different institutions in the world. But general format that I would like to share in this video. See in this video, the first thing is that one, the research topic. The research topic should be very specific, and there is a protocol how to frame the research topic. It has to start with that some articles. So this point that we have to keep it in our mind. And in the first chapter, it should be introduction chapter. In the introductions, it must start with some famous quotes by the world famous authors in the world. The important points of the research topic must be mentioned with citation and the references in the footnote. Usually, in the first chapter, there should be introductions, important or the significance of the study. Then, if it is a proposal, then few review of related literature can be mentioned there. Then the statement of the problem. The statement of problem must be the narrowed down. The variable must be mentioned it, and it must be explained with a purpose, and what is the dependent variables and what are the independent variables that should be mentioned there. And the research question also should be asked based on the variables. Then the objectives of the study. The objectives must be focus the purpose which should be having a significant with the topic. There must be a general and the specific objectives. Next, the scope of the study or the areas of the study should be mentioned there. Then the methodologies. In the methodologies, there are the various ways we can write it, but some general methodologies are all the research design, primary data collection techniques, secondary data collection techniques, sample techniques. These are all should be mentioned it in the tabulations. Sampling techniques should be mentioned with the tabulations, and statistical tools which we have used it for analysis purposes. Then the data analysis, all should be mentioned it very explanations way in that methodologies. Then the framework of the study, the framework can be explained it in the form of the graph, chart, or diagrams. Any way we can explain it. Then the research outcome, the hypothesis, that means that hypothesis means is a temporary conclusions. So based on the previous studies results, we can expect some hypothesis or the research what we have done it, that hypothesis also we have to mention it here, we can mention it here. Important hypothesis we can mention over there. Then the definition and terms which is used, like variables, some parameters, some factors, that and all should be explained it very well. Then the profile of the study, then the valuation of the thesis, then the limitation of the study, then time schedule or maybe the Gantt chart, budget, chapter scheme, and the conclusions or the summary. This should be mentioned it in the introduction chapter, that is the first chapter. In the second chapter, it must be related to the review of literature. How to write the review of literature? If it is mentioned in the studies, the different what is the findings and different objectives that should be written it on their own way to defend the research report. So there also in that second chapter, there also can be that introduction chapter, and and the review of literature can be segregated on the basis of the topic, or on the basis of the statement of the problem, or on the basis of the objectives. We can segregate it. This review of literatures can be collected from the various studies from the world, continent, country, and regional level. And the review of literature should not mention more from the books. It may be used little bit at the beginning, but mostly should be from that the articles, okay, or the research papers. Some report should be collected over there. Then the third chapter, it should be mentioned about that scenario of the topic. Maybe at the international level, what they are telling, continent level, what they are telling, or the national level or the regional level, what they are telling. That should be mentioned it there. So that means what is in the past and the present of the topic should be mentioned in that in this chapter. Okay, and this chapter also can be written in this form: introductions and that body. The body may be that international level, continent level, national level, regional level. That may be the body, and then the conclusions or the summary that we can write it. Then the fourth chapter, it should be the analysis and the interpretations. So there may be a part A and part B. Part A must be an analyzing the secondary data, okay, based on that your objectives, okay, and where you can use that generic and inferential statistics. And part B must be analyzing the primary data, okay, using the generic and inferential statistics. So such a way we have to perform in the chapter 4. And this chapter also can be written in the form of the introductions, the body, or conclusions, or summary. This way we can write it. Then the fifth chapter, it's mentioned about the findings, suggestions, recommendations, conclusions, and scope of the future study. So, the scope of the future study should be helping to the other researchers who will be going to carry your topic further. So, that point we have to keep it in our mind. Next is that one, the bibliography. So, bibliography, that this must be at the second last of your research report or your proposal. It may be from the books, journals, reports, theses, or dissertations, magazine, newspapers, pamphlets, manuals, websites. Can be you can classify like this, but all should be written it in the how either in the Harvard format or maybe the American psychological associations format should be mentioned it there. We should not write the bibliography on our own. There is a protocol to write the bibliography such a way we have to write it. Next is that one, the annexure. So annexures may be attached. You can attach the questionnaires or the interview schedules or maybe some data, what we have used it for analysis and all, that you can keep it in your annexures. Then some general points that you have to keep it in your mind. What are they? That means they are throughout the thesis. It must be a citation and footnotes if possible. There must be a significance between topic, statement of the problems, objectives, hypothesis, review of literature, scenario, analysis and interpretations, findings, suggestions, recommendations, conclusions, and future of the study. and the data may be the presented in the table form or chart form or the graphical ways. The sources must be mentioned it if you have taken a data from your analysis purposes. There must be a coherence and sequence with your own style of your language. So this is a way that we have to think about to prepare the research report. And when we are talking about the whole report, it should be in order. It should be in order. Maybe maybe in terms of the decades, or in terms of the years, or in terms of the periods. That way we have to segregate it very well, so that it will be easier and giving more interest to read the report that what you have prepared it. So this is what about some information about the writing style of the research report in this scenario of the world. Thank you very much.